Dentistry and General Radio Network presents The Bald Truth, the Dental Politics Podcast with Dr. Bob D. and Dr. Spencer Bloom, Special Edition. This episode is brought to you by Digapalooza, the premier CE event every November in Chicago. This exclusive event features world-renowned speakers delivering quality bread and butter topics that is more than CE. It's a connection to a supportive dental community. For early bird pricing and more details, visit dentistryingeneral.com. In this episode,
pretend I'm a non-member, which I am.
Okay.
Pitch AGD to me.
I think what makes AGD so special is that it is the only organization that represents the voice of general dentistry. The needs of the general dentist are different from other specialties, and it's important that there's a group and an organization there that can help support those views. Now, beyond that, we set the highest standards for education. We are dentist-led. We are a grassroots organization. We listen, we adapt, we react. And that's why I think AGD is special, is because it is nimble enough to make the changes to make sure that we are continuing to be responsive to our members and their needs.
Addressing ethics, corporate influence, and the role of organized dentistry. Dr. Bob D. interviews Dr. Chetan Chetty, the president of the Academy of General Dentistry.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today with the president of the Academy of General Dentistry, Dr. Chetan Chetty. But before I start, I want to dedicate this podcast to my dear friend who passed away yesterday, Dr. Robert Pick. He was big in education, and he always listened to my podcast and gave me hints. He was the first one, Dr. Chetty, to tell me, oh, you need to go get a green screen. This is 4 years ago. And he was the one who would give me advice on different things. And many times we would actually talk very late at night where everybody else is asleep. He goes, I know you're awake. He would text me and we would actually get on the phone and talk. A good man. And one thing that he always said, and I want everyone listening to this to remember, I'm sure there are only dentists listening to this, right? was ethics first. That was his motto. Ethics first. He was the purple cow guy. Everybody knew him for that. But every time he spoke, live or online, he would say ethics first. And I want everybody to consider that as we navigate these harder times in our profession, is that our standards and our ethics are going to come into question. And as long as you put ethics first, we'll be fine. Dr. Chetty, thank you very much for joining me. I have known people in AGD for a while. I'm friends with past president, Dr. Hans Guter, and he actually, I think, introduced us in the last House of Delegates. But I've always been intrigued by AGD because I believe AGD may have started at something, but now it has to evolve into something else, in my opinion. But I want to hear what you guys have to say to introduce us to AGD. I'm not a member of the AGD.
We're going to change that, Bob.
Yes, I am considering that. But at the same time, I know that there's a lot of good things that you guys do. And let's introduce people to what AGD is. Tell me a little about AGD's history and a little about yourself. Combine the two and how you got involved in that, and let the audience know what AGD is famous for.
Sure, absolutely. AGD's been around for about 75 years, nearly 75 years. And at its core, what we believe in is supporting general dentists to allow them to elevate their level of care to their patients and to the profession. And the way we do that is through high quality continuing education as well as advocacy. In terms of like why AGD spoke to me, and I think that the reason why I'm sitting here today is because when we graduate from dental school, and I know for me, when I graduated from dental school, I was really just not ready. I felt like there was so much more that I needed to know. And I was very thankful because I practiced with my dad for 20 years. And the first thing he did was say, all right, come with me. We're going to an AGD course. And so I've been exposed to AGD, of course, through dental school, but very early in my career, I had the opportunity to attend AGD courses. And what I found was that I had attended a lot of different CE courses, but what I found in AGD was that it's not just that the courses are high quality. AGD takes a lot of pride in making sure that they vet their speakers and they vet the content to make sure that it is something that is going to create benefit to our members. And not just that, but to allow you to take the information you learned on a Saturday and take it back to the office on Monday and implement it. And so that was like one of the main things in the way that most of the CE is structured. But beyond that, it was an environment of people who really, just took you in and said, "Hey, we've been there and we're here to help you. And whatever you need, here's my phone number. Call me if you need some advice on this, or if you need some help on this topic, come by my office." And that was what you experienced in every CE course you went to. You didn't know these people, but they made sure that they helped lift you up and help support you. And I think that's what was so special to me about AGD, was that AGD is there. Like for me, AGD was there when I needed them in the way that I needed them to be. And what's special about AGD is that continues to happen at every step of your career. And it spoke to me because we all need different things at different levels. And it's important to be with an organization that understands that. And I believe AGD was that organization for me. And every step of my career, I was able to reach out to someone. There was a network of mentors, a network of people. And you started the conversation today about ethics. And that's one of the things, again, I truly believe in being highly ethical and doing the right things for the right reasons. And AGD leaders believe that. AGD dentists believe that. We believe in high quality dentistry and taking care of our patients and spreading that word and making sure that we are doing things because it benefits our patients and not because it benefits us directly is this mantra that we truly believe in. And I share with the people that come behind me and the people that look for me for mentorship, as well as my own associates. We want to do things for the right reasons. And that was instilled within me very early in my career. And that's because of AGD. And a lot of people ask me, I've been in leadership at AGD from almost the beginning. So I was a leader in California for almost 20 years before I went up and down the chairs. And I was involved at AGD at the national level for almost 10 years before I became president. And so I saw a lot of the workings. I saw a lot of the challenges within organized dentistry and how dentistry as a whole has changed. And so I felt it's my opportunity to give back to an organization that has given me so much. And so I felt like that the only way to do that is to become president and be able to like implement a vision to help support our growing membership and our young dentists and our dentists that are really facing challenges that are so different from what we faced 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And so I felt like I want to be there to be able to do the same thing, support them in a way that they need when they need it.
Yeah, you mentioned something that maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I would say, of course, why wouldn't we? Like you said,
Mhm.
that we practice in a way that we put patients first. And it's
Yes.
the cliche, right? People talk about take care of the patient, money would follow. I'm sure all of us have heard that. But
Right.
unfortunately, it's not like that anymore, right? When you get private equity involved,
Mhm.
and you know how I feel about these things, if you get
Sure.
private
Yeah.
equity involved and they put the 20% profit in front of the patient care, now you
Right.
are having other challenges. But I don't want to get
Yeah,
off
and I mean,
tangent.
I think that's the key, right? Like for us, we have no problem with our members practicing in whatever mode they want to practice, whether it's in a corporate environment or an FQHC or whatever it is. But our goal is to make sure that when they are in those environments, they are able to thrive and do things the right way for the right reasons, like we just mentioned, and to make sure that they maintain high quality of dentistry and high ethical standards.
Let's pretend I'm a
Mhm.
non-member, which I am,
Okay.
and
Okay.
you're going to pitch AGD to me.
I think what makes AGD so special is that the first thing is that it is the only organization that represents the voice of general dentistry. And it's important. It's very important that we all are part of organized dentistry to support our profession and help guide the profession in the way that we want. But and the needs of the general dentist are sometimes a little bit different from what's important to other specialties. And it's important that there's a group and an organization there that can help support those views. Now, beyond that, we set the highest standards for education and we make sure that what we are providing to our members is going to allow them to grow throughout their career. And what makes it special is that we are a dentist led organization. So we are a grassroots organization. What the decisions we make, the direction we follow is based on what our members, what our leaders at the constituent, city, state level, what challenges they're facing. We listen, we adapt, we react. And that's why I think AGD is special, is because it is nimble enough to make the changes to make sure that we are continuing to be responsive to our members and their needs. And it's important. I think in this day and age, sometimes it's perceived that the relevance of organized dentistry is not there. But I think that in this day and age, it's even more important than ever to be involved and to make sure that not that you're just involved, but you have the opportunity to have a voice, and that voice is being listened to. And I think that's what makes AGD so unique, is that we are actively looking to make sure that we listen to our members. In fact, yesterday, one of the things that I've done, I wanted to reinforce as president, is to make sure that we keep open lines of communication with all of our membership, all of our leaders. And so part of doing that is during our House of Delegates, which takes place in November, we've already extended the time for our town hall to make sure that our members have more time to discuss and talk about any topics they have. But beyond that, we're also implementing virtual town halls. And we had our first virtual town hall last night, and we had many leaders throughout the country attend, and they were able to ask us anything they wanted to ask us. And I think and we listen to the challenges that they're facing so that we can help and support them to make sure that they're fulfilling their mission.
I told you I was going to say why I consider them, because I've gotten to know a few people in the leadership of the AGD, and they're all good people. And I actually, someone who's in the leadership of she doesn't know me, but I know of her, and I've talked to her, texted her a couple of times, that she was bullied by organized dentistry in the 14th district. And she had told me that she's done with the ADA, and that's why she wants to help, and she chose AGD. For me, that shows inclusivity of the AGD. That shows that they have a purpose. What I want to know is, what is the relationship between the ADA and AGD? Are you guys collaborating? How does that work?
I would say that, like I mentioned, I'm a lifelong ADA member. I believe in a strong ADA, and it's important that we support ADA and make sure that we, again, create an ADA that represents the dentistry that we all want to represent. AGD is fortunate to have a good relationship with ADA. We don't agree on everything, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we agree on a lot of things. And the things that we do agree on, we try to work closely together, and we try to keep in touch. We communicate regularly. We just met with them last week at Chicago Midwinter and had a good conversation. And so to me, I think it's so important that we're in this world where it's always like me against them or us against them. And I think it's so important for us as organized dentistry, and whether it's general dentistry or oral surgery or endodontics or the ADA, we all need to find that common ground so we can work together. So again, we're not going to agree on everything, but we're going to agree on a lot of things, and we truly all will be stronger together if we can find those common ties.
Yeah, and I appreciate you as a leader have to say that. I don't.
No, but I truly
I know.
believe it.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And I want you to know personally that I feel like the profession is at the 11th hour, meaning that we are at crossroads, right? There is a reason you are talking to a schmuck like me, right? If everybody was joining the AGD, if everybody was joining the ADA, they wouldn't have a reason to even do these things, right? But
Right.
we are at crossroads because dentists are hurting. And I
Yes.
truly believe the organizations need to take a stand, and they need to look at the mistakes they've made and don't make it anymore. I'm not familiar enough with AGD to actually offer my opinion to you guys or what you guys are about or what you do. But I do believe if the AGD takes a stand and stick their necks out, like I believe Texas AGD has the same giraffe
That's
as
right.
the Dentistry and General Advocacy Coalition.
That's right.
But I believe we should take a stand against a few things that are hurting dentists across the country.
Sure. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, again, there are things that we as an organization, I think we're doing right. And we truly are listening to our members. And so we are driving this organization in that direction and taking the stands that are the right thing for this profession, not just general dentistry, but for the profession. And so I would encourage people, if you feel that the things that we're doing are representative of what you believe, then it makes sense to help support that kind of organization.
So here's my image of the AGD before I got to know all of you guys. And I was always, why do I need someone to count my CE? I can count it myself. And I'm sure you've heard that. I'm sure many of the listeners are thinking that, but it's not about that anymore, right? You guys are involved into advocacy. You have lobbyists. Tell me a little about what you do outside of the CE. We talked about quality CE that
Absolutely.
you guys have.
Mhm.
God knows I spent 3 weeks filling out the AGD certification for my CE course. I couldn't even get a favor since I know all you guys. But
They are
what do you get?
strict. They are
Oh
strict.
my God,
But hey, you
600
passed it.
pages.
They take that seriously for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm joking.
Like I said, we have advocacy has been a very important part of what we've done almost from the beginning. So this is not a new thing, but
Mm.
we have continued to ramp up the things that we do with advocacy and make sure that again, we're listening to our members and we're protecting this profession. So we have a seat at the code maintenance committee with ADA, make sure that we are keeping our dental codes up to date so that our members and dentists are getting paid for procedures that they are actually doing. We have a seat at the Dental Quality Alliance. We make sure that, again, we are providing and maintaining standards of high quality dental care. We have our annual Hill Days, and so we go. We have maybe about 50 or 60 members, and we are working on increasing that number actively. And we go and meet with legislators, and we talk about the things that are important to us. And we've created great connections. We have, as you mentioned, we have a lobbying firm in DC, and so they've worked closely with legislators to work on important things like access to healthcare that we've been talking about for a long time, and it continues to be a very important thing. Insurance reform and student debt. All these things are things that we are constantly working on. We have two councils that work on that at AGD actively, and they're monitoring what's going on and continuing to bring forth positions and advocacy positions and contacts so we can continue to make sure that we're protecting our members and protecting our patients. We had one of our members, Dr. Gordon Isbell, testify in front of the Senate Help Committee last year, and he spoke about ways to improve access to care and ways that we can address the issues that we continue to fight day in and day out. It seems like it's not moving the way we need it to. And so we definitely are fighting the good fight. And we really do believe that at the end of the day, it's really just doing right by our community and our patients.
This episode is brought to you by Digapalooza, the premier CE event every November in Chicago. This exclusive event features world-renowned speakers delivering quality bread and butter topics that is more than CE. It's a connection to a supportive dental community. For early bird pricing and more details, visit dentistryingeneral.com.
Would AGD ever consider expanding it to specialists as well, or you guys do have honorary
Yeah, so
members,
actually
right?
we've had specialists for a long time, and we have a specialist category as well as a category for auxiliaries. So we absolutely support that. We also have international members as well as a constituent in Canada. We also have our own military constituent. So all the armed forces have their own constituent. So again, we look to make sure that we are representing all of dentistry as much as
I,
possible, certainly in general dentistry.
and you have trying to develop a student division as well, correct? I think I was
We
asked to speak in New Orleans.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the conflict in
that's
schedule has
right.
not worked this year,
Yeah.
but hopefully
Yeah.
next year. I think Kay asked me to speak, but you
Mhm.
guys are trying to get students involved as well, right?
We've had student chapters for many years, for at least over 20 years. So that's not a new thing for us, but we've decided to revamp the way we approach that. And so we do have student chapters in almost all the dental schools. And we have a new dentist committee that is comprised of some dental students and new dentists to make sure that again, we're listening to what their needs are and what the challenges they're facing. We support activities with the dental students. And yes, and one of the categories that we're seeing the most growth in our membership is in the younger dentists and the student dentists. And so to me, that's like a great indicator that we're doing the right things. We're listening, we're doing the right things.
Excellent. Now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh,
Let's
I gotta
talk.
go. We have a bad internet.
Let's talk about private equity. Let's
Okay.
talk about DSOs, which I believe it's a made-up word, and I've always said it. I call them private equity-backed organizations.
hmm
Does
hmm
AGD have a clear stand on the concept of private equity being in healthcare?
The way we look at it again, and I mentioned it, I know that you didn't love the answer. We are an organization that supports general dentistry, and we support all of our members in all the different ways that they may want to practice. And For us, it's to make sure that they have the ability to practice high quality dental care. So we're not going to support an organization or a group that is forcing our members to compromise what they're doing or compromise their ethics. And so what we can do as an organization, because there are so many factors that force people into certain decisions of the way they practice, we still have to support them and make sure that we allow them an opportunity to make sure that their contracts are proper and appropriate and they're not being taken advantage of. We need to make sure that, again, that they are not being driven by numbers that are unrealistic and by production as opposed to high quality care. And so we continue to do that. And members who have challenges, we continue to support them to make sure that we can correct those things.
I'm going to push a little harder.
That's okay.
Nobody's saying you shouldn't be supporting dentists. For me, it's really easy. You say, we support dentists. I don't care who you are. Even if you own one of these private equity backed organizations, if you're a dentist, we support you when you are a dentist. We don't support you when you are managing care between a doctor and a patient. What I want to know is that the American Dental Association announced a quote unquote partnership, which was changed, thankful to suggestions in my group. Maybe it was me, maybe it was somebody else. That would the board be changed to a think tank, in which they did. I don't believe we have anything in common when it comes to ethics with private equity backed organizations. We should be supporting their dentists, but I don't want to sit at a table to see how we can strategize with them. I don't see a reason. Does AGD, and I don't want you to tell me secrets, does AGD have any plans or any programs currently that collaborates with these types of organizations?
No, we don't. The only thing that we do have is one of the DSOs does pay for their members to pursue their fellowship in the AGD, and they support AGD education. But that's the only thing.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Again, when I always talk about DSOs, I always say I have no problems with them. This is a capitalistic country. I don't want them. I don't want to say anything to control them, but I want to control my organizations. That who do you represent? I always compare it to, I went to Bank of America and took a loan to buy my practice. You don't support Bank of America, ADA. There's no reason to collaborate with them. You collaborate with dentists, make sure their dentists are taken care of. So I'm glad to hear that you guys do not have a plan to partner up with anyone that doesn't represent dentists, in my opinion. Another thing I wanted to ask you, what does AGD think that today's issues are for general dentists? I know many people those who don't even like me, I know them to be good people, and they're trying, right? We don't agree on certain things, but I want to know if they understand us. It feels like a lot of people in leadership positions in both organizations, AGD and ADA. I have spoken to some AGD leadership that I wasn't happy about. Their deaf tone, you and I are both practicing dentists.
That's right.
I want to know if the leadership knows. What do you think the biggest problem for dentists today is?
I think the biggest problem, one, is the quickly changing landscape of the quote unquote business of dentistry. I think that student loans are playing a big part in shaping that path. I think that access to care is going to always be an issue in this country. And there are so many different philosophies on how to approach that. And so those philosophies keep working against each other, and then nothing happens. So I think those things are always going to be issues, and we need to continue to keep fighting towards making sure that we can help and correct those and direct the way these things change and evolve. But I think the other issue in dentistry is that I feel like, and you touched on this, I feel like there's this sense of not being heard. And I appreciate leaders like you who are stirring the pot. And it's not easy to stand up and say, hey, look, we got to really ask these hard questions. And we need to bring up these topics because they are real concerns for us. And I think that AGD has done a really good job in making sure that we do listen, and we need to evolve, because I think that a lot of the younger dentists, we talked about this a few minutes ago, but a lot of the younger dentists are just like, why do I need to be involved in organized dentistry? They don't really represent me. When I look at the sea of people in an HOD, they don't look like me. They don't have the same issues that I have. And that's a scary premise. And we're seeing it play out a little bit because we can't have that sense that we don't need to be together. And that's driving this world apart. We need to make sure that we are staying relevant to these younger dentists. And the only way we can do that is to actually listen. And when we listen, we have to make sure that we act on those things. But beyond that, we need to let them know that they have a place where they can actually be heard. And so it's not just complaining in an internet forum. It's, hey, you know what? Please come to an AGD meeting, become involved, become a leader, because your thoughts, whatever you're feeling, there's hundreds of people, thousands of people feeling the same thing. And there's a way to fix that. But let's be part of that solution and not just sit there and expect it to change without us being part of that change. And I think what we've done is a little bit of a disservice to those younger members. And when I say we, I mean like all of dentistry and organized dentistry, is that we can't keep saying this is this is right for you. No, you have to let us know what we can do to help you get where you need to be, and please have a part in doing that.
I appreciate you saying that, because I was one of them. I was one of the people who said that I was a member for a long time, member of the ADA for a long time. I dropped out and then I came back. But I have come to the conclusion that there is no difference between last generation, the generation before, and this generation. We have different issues that we need to deal with, but we just want to be heard.
Right.
And I believe explaining the future to the younger generation will get them to join.
Certainly. So, but the part of it is that you have to make sure that, see, the difference, I think, between these different generations is that right now we have a situation where I think a lot of younger members, a lot of younger dentists are feeling disenfranchised, right? And so maybe the issues are not as different as we perceive them to be, but we have to hear them. We have to make sure that perception of disenfranchisement is not there. We have to be the people that say, look, no, it's time for you to come in and help put your mark on our profession.
Yeah, and it bothers me when they say that the new generation doesn't care. They just want to have a 9-to-5 job.
They care a lot. A lot.
Everything they do is purposeful, right? If they start a business, they're always looking to give. So it is not that. It's discounting this generation when you say that this generation is not. I heard a leader insult young students in front of them. And I confronted her, but I'm sure it didn't come out the way she wanted it. But these are the things that I think the organizations need to do to attract the younger dentist.
Absolutely.
The issue of insurance, the issue of DSOs, these are all the things that we need to talk about rather than, oh, we know what's right.
Certainly. I totally agree with you. And that, again, that's why I feel like the approach that we have as AGD is significant, because we are grassroots. We are listening to the members, and the decisions we make are based on what our members want. And it's not coming from the top down, it's coming from the bottom up. And again, that's why I love what I do. And I feel so strongly about why this is a significant part of what's important to me as a dentist.
I want to switch gears a little bit and maybe ask you first personally, and then about the AGD, where they stand. This is the issue of the compact.
Sure.
And how the compact is actually dividing us, in my opinion. And for anyone who doesn't know what a compact is, these are interstate agreements that governments have to cut bureaucracy. And there are physicians have had a compact, nurses have had a compact, and barbers have had a compact that they can go from state to state without taking another test. And I'm sure you did, and I did, have this fantasy of, oh, I wish I could travel, but neither of us did, right? You stayed at your hometown, and I'm here in Chicago, stuck here in Chicago for 50 years. But what I want to know is that, does AGD have a clear stand on the two compacts that are on the table, and how do you work with the states? Because you guys have state organizations too. My friend, Dr. Bloom, my podcast partner, is the president of the AGD Illinois.
Correct.
So I want to know, do you guys have a stand? Have you guys studied it? And I don't have a problem if you say you guys don't have enough to go by.
And so, yes, we have been monitoring this obviously for a long time, and we currently don't have a position on the two compacts that are there. Our councils are reviewing them and just looking at the different challenges and pros and cons of each. But I think at the end of the day, from day one, we have been very supportive of licensure by credentials and reciprocity. And I think that we have to make sure that we keep our eye on the target in terms of the big reason for this is to make sure that we're supporting the spouses that travel with military personnel. And we have been working closely with our military constituent to make sure that we're hearing like what are those challenges and make sure that if there is a compact that we may support, it is supporting the military personnel. That was the whole point.
Yeah, that's a non-issue now. My
Yeah.
associate is wife of a military,
Mhm.
and I checked with her before I put it in writing. And since 2015, the
Mhm.
military got tired of us trying to get anything passed. That issue is solved. The military doesn't need
Mhm.
that. They started by funding it to get it
Mhm.
passed, but they
Mhm.
gave up and did it on their own.
Right.
Right now, there is absolutely no issue for wives of militaries.
Okay.
My problem, again, I want this to be on the record again for AGD people who are
Sure.
watching, is that the two compacts, one is a copy of what physicians have, and it has worked for many years. And
Okay.
it's a great compact. I'm
Mhm.
not going to mention either compact
Sure.
because people can watch my other interviews, but I'm just telling you that if we want it to be just like physicians, let's pick one that the physicians have, which is a carbon copy of it and not what the barbers have.
You had mentioned about states, and yes,
Yes.
absolutely, we do work with state leaders and state dental organizations on the things that we agree on again, and make sure that we work closely together to achieve that common goal. So yes, absolutely, there's no problem with that,
Great.
as well as other specialty organizations.
Excellent. So if a state opposes you guys on
Mm.
something that they don't want in their state, how do you
Mhm.
guys deal with that?
We have to stand for the things that we believe, and we have to make sure that we are supporting the position that our house has voted on. And it's as simple as that. So again, we're not going to agree on everything, and so we need to just agree to disagree and support the beliefs that we have. Things like the discussion of mid-level providers was a big part, one of those things that did separate us from like how our positions were, like say for example in California. But AGD and California AGD stood fast on the belief that we did not support mid-level providers. California did not like that, but we had to do what we felt was the right thing for our members and for our profession.
Excellent. It's good to hear that. What is your vision for the AGD's
Mhm.
future? What is your plan to get the younger people come in? What is
Mhm.
your vision?
Mhm. So I think you've heard it throughout this conversation. And for me and the leaders that we have at AGD, what we believe is that to truly be a successful organization in the eyes of the membership is to truly listen to the membership and be a grassroots organization. So what I've done throughout my time in leadership is to make sure that we double down on opening up those lines of communication, making sure that it doesn't feel like the leaders are not in touch. And we have transparency all through our organization. Our leaders have access to pretty much all the information that we have whenever they need it. I mentioned disillusionment. And I think that's a key thing is that we need to make sure that we keep our younger leaders engaged and let them know that they do truly have a voice. And we're here to help them share their vision of what this person should be like. It's no longer my vision. We have to make sure that we create an environment where the leaders that are coming behind us can help create the dentistry for the next 20 years. We've done our part, but we need to make sure we support the people that come behind us because it's no longer my vision, it's the vision of the members. And we need to make sure that those members are being heard and they're being seen. I truly do believe that we need to work together with all organizations, all aspects of organized dentistry. But at the same time, I know that there's a lot of discussion of just starting over. Let's just throw everything out. And I don't believe that because there are certain organizations that serve certain purposes, and I respect that, and we work with them. But at the same time, AGD is right here. And I think that a lot of what I read and what I see, especially on your page, aligns with the things that AGD does. And so I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to support an organization that already believes the things that you believe. And we have established advocacy and lobbying efforts. And more than that, we just support the profession of dentistry and general dentistry. AGD is the best kept secret in dentistry because we really do all the things that our members believe. And I think that there's a place for everyone to be there. And the more people that are involved, the greater that voice is and that greater that power becomes to make the change that we all want to see.
Great. I lied to you. I said I was waiting for a few things before I joined AGD, but I wanted to announce it on air that
Okay.
once we stop recording here, I'm going to go to the website and I'm going to join AGD because I have a lot of respect for you and for a lot of my friends that are in the leadership of the AGD. And I want people to see that I'm always putting my money where my big mouth is. If I'm going to criticize an organization and ask them to change, I cannot just do it as an outsider. You have
Mhm.
to be part of the system. I liken the AGD to the American Academy of Endodontics or the
Mhm.
AAO for the orthodontists. We have now an organization that
Mhm.
can not only give us good education, but it can maybe advocate for us within the ADA that we
Mhm.
are part of a bigger entity. So
Correct.
I will be joining this afternoon. Just so many good people as part of this organization that I cannot just sit on the sidelines. I want to thank you for being here today. Do you have anything at the end to add?
Bob, what you can't see on the camera are tears of joy with you joining. I'm so happy to that. But no, honestly, I'm really excited to hear that. And I really would love for you to be involved. Like you already have a great relationship with Spence. And we got to talk about ways that you can get involved. I hope to see you at our House of Delegates this November. And I hope to hear you talk at our House of Delegates and talk about the things that you feel are important, because now as a member, you have that opportunity to do that. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I
Let's move
appreciate
this
it.
profession forward together.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for being here. Hopefully we can do this again.
Bob, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Of course.
Have a great day.
You too.
This episode is brought to you by Digapalooza, the premier CE event every November in Chicago. This exclusive event features world-renowned speakers delivering quality bread and butter topics that is more than CE. It's a connection to a supportive dental community. For early bird pricing and more details, visit dentistryingeneral.com.
This has been a production of Dentistry in General Radio Network. Visit our website, dentistryingeneral.com, to join engaging clinical and business conversations, explore our dental podcasts, and stay updated on our upcoming live events.